Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer kicking off the Saturday Pick 4 at Aqueduct. The first Grade 1 stakes of the year in New York. It's the Carter. 7 furlongs. If you're betting the Carter, if you're betting the Wood Memorial card, our coverage is presented by DRF Bet, so we might as well make you an offer. $150 bonus, drf.com/join, promo code TV150. Let's take a look at this big and bulky field for a prestigious and historic race. The number 2 is Army Mule, going out for Todd Pletcher. This horse is extremely lightly raced, but is the 5-2 morning line favorite. 2 starts, 2 blowout wins. You've got to wonder if this horse has had some physical issues along the way. He's 4 years old, and this is only start number 3. Last time out, he didn't break. Kind of rushed up into a slow pace and then put the boots to that field. If he breaks poorly in here, though, he's in trouble. Yeah, he's in big trouble if he can't get out of the gate in this race. It's going to be very interesting to see what he does in here, though, because it's obviously a really good test for this horse who's only run twice. But boy, to say he's been impressive in the 2 races that he's run might be a little bit of an understatement. He was really good first time out at Belmont last year. He just smashed that field, sitting up there 3 wide, waiting to be asked to run, and then crushing the field of maidens. And he came back last time, and he was maybe even more impressive. But you're right, Dan. I mean, he's got to post down towards the inside. There's plenty of speed to his outside. He's got to go 7 furlongs this time, and he didn't break last time. He can't get away with that in this kind of field. There's a lot working against him. He's a really talented horse, though. He's a really talented horse. He's going to be facing the toughest competition and perhaps the fastest pace that he's ever faced as he tries 7 furlongs for the first time. We do have a positive formulator fact. It is Todd Pletcher, after all, for Army Mule. Over the past 3 years, older last-out winners off this kind of a layoff. And I think with this kind of a horse, you need to give him a little bit of time. On dirt, 29%, a $2.33 return on investment. Army Mule's going to be tough, but there are also some other very talented runners in this race. And let's talk about Skyler's Scramjet, who just beat 4 of these common foes last time out in the Grade 3 Tom Fool Handicap. He was bet down to favoritism that day, and I really like the ride Trevor McCarthy gave him. He went after Green Grotto early. Green Grotto also in this race, and he was just simply best. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that was one of those races where the other speed scratched out of the race, and so somebody had to take up the running against Green Grotto in there. Trevor McCarthy did it, and he easily handled Green Grotto up on the pace, and I like the way he finished that race off in the stretch. This horse just keeps going from strength to strength, especially for Michelle Nevin. You got to sort of take that middle part of his form away from him, where he left Nevin's barn and went down to Florida, and he just sort of couldn't get anything done for his other trainer. But once he got back into this barn, he just turned things right around again. He can get any kind of a trip in a race, and I just love the way he finishes in his races. And I think he'll get the 7 furlongs against these horses. He's going to be tough right back. And Timeform US believes he's going to get a similar situation as last time. Here's the pace projector. The 8 is Green Grotto. The 9 is Skyler's Scramjet. An identical situation to the Tom Fool. Are you worried about the 7 for Skyler's Scramjet as he tries this distance for the first time in a while? I mean, I think you got to be worried about it at least a little bit, but I really don't feel like it's going to be a problem for this. When you just go back and look at especially his last 3 races, and I know that they were all at 6 furlongs, but in every one of those races, he really finished at the end of those races. I don't think the 7 is going to be a problem for him. Some folks believe that pace was not blistering in the Tom Fool, and it might have helped Skyler's Scramjet while working against closers Do Share and Great Stuff. Right. If you believe that, then Do Share might be the horse you might want to take out of the Tom Fool, because he was really rolling at the end, and Linda's just had him in exceptional good form for about a year now. Yeah, it's crazy how good this horse's form has been over a long series of races, and he just came back off of a long layoff, or a relatively long layoff anyway, and just picked up right where he left off in December, and he keeps running good races. He won the Gravesend 2-back. I thought he ran well in the Tom Fool last time, just considering how much ground he had to make up through the stretch. He was way back there. He really ran at the end. He got up for second at the end. What I didn't like about his Tom Fool, first of all, I don't like that it seems like he's lost a little bit of it. He was more of a positional horse and a tactical horse before that layoff, and it feels like maybe he's lost his speed, and I don't like that about him. I also don't like, as you point out, the Tom Fool, the pace wasn't blazing, and he got outrun in that race. I mean, Junior Alvarado was motivating him up the backstretch, trying not to get outrun, but he got outrun anyway. Do Shore and Great Stuff, both perhaps compromised by a lack of pace. Do Shore finished better. Lots of handicappers will naturally say, well, I want Do Shore. I wouldn't say not so fast. Yeah. Great Stuff likes the 7, I think, better. And last time out, the 6 just simply might have been a little bit too short for him. Yeah, I agree with that. I think 7 furlongs works to his advantage. If they run a fast pace in front of him, that works to his advantage. You only have to go back 2 starts on his card
to the toboggan. 7 furlongs over this track. They went a wicked pace in front of him. He sat out of it, and he came running through the stretch to close it down with a new top figure. This horse is a contender in here.
Millionaire Awesome Slew makes his 5-year-old debut. He is the number 11 in here for John Velasquez and Mark Casse. We have not seen him since the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, a race that's produced 3 next out winners, including 1:15 Beyer performer Sharp Azteca, who won the Cigar.
Right.
Awesome Slew, if you believe the rail was dead on Breeders' Cup Friday, sat on the inside for the first 6 furlongs of that mile race, got out in the stretch, and then ran okay. It was a really good effort for an underrated horse who might get the pace. He needs it.
There's a lot. There's a lot to like about this horse. You know what, Dan? Especially when you start. They turned him back early last year to make him a sort of a one-turn kind of 7 furlong to 8 furlong horse, and that's what he really wants to do. And all he did is run one really good race after another. I mean, against some really good horses too. I mean, they tried every tough spot for this horse. He never embarrassed. So he didn't win very many of them, but he never embarrassed himself. He runs every time. He'll catch pace in here. I mean, I guess you have to worry about the layoff for him. Do you think he's going to come back and be able to fire one of his good races right off the bench? That's really the only question for me, because in a lot of ways, I think Awesome Slew's the horse to beat in here.
Favorable outcome, the number 3, disappointed as the even money favorite in the Grade 3 Gulfstream Park Sprint. His seasonal debut, there was a fast pace on display, but I think there could be some folks out there who are going to say it's just tough for that horse to make up ground that day at Gulfstream Park. Not sure about the field he was facing. The runner-up, who was a big, gigantic price, came back. He ran second with an 87 Beyer and an optional claimer in his next start. This horse has shown flashes. He's just a bit inconsistent.
Yeah, he is. It'll be interesting to see if he can sort of turn it around again, because there are races in his past that would make him a real contender in this race. I was very disappointed in his last race, though. I mean, he just really didn't run at all, and he had no finish through the stretch. He got the big figure 3 starts back, and I guess if he can run a 104, he's a contender in here, but he got an absolute perfect trip in that race, and he worked really hard to do it. I'm starting to feel like this horse might not. I had really high hopes for him early on. I'm starting to feel like he's never really going to turn out to be that good.
Millionaire Green Grotto was beaten double digits in the 2017 Tom Fool, and then he came and bounced right back and won the Carter at 54-1 when allowed to get to the lead.
Right.
As we saw on the pace projector, he's expected to get the lead again, and he's coming into this race off a double-digit defeat in the Tom Fool. But in the Tom Fool, I just couldn't make any excuses.
No, he really, I mean, it was hard to make excuses from that race. He got to the lead. He was no match for Skyler Scramjet, and he let go in the stretch. He really didn't finish at all in that race. And it's also worth pointing out, listen, he's a really cool horse, and he's dangerous at times with his speed. It does feel like maybe he's lost a step. And when he did win the Carter last year, take nothing away from him, because he deserved a big win in his career. That was a big speed track last year. He got to the front. Some horses, in particular Tommy Macho, had real trouble behind him. A lot of things broke his way to pull off the upset last year.
Red Dragon Tattoo has an enviable record. He's 5 for 9 lifetime, and there's an enviable formulator fact for his park space trainer. Over the past 3 years, last out winning older horses, coming off a middle-sized layoff in dirt sprints, 45% winners. This horse scored last time out over Struth, a nice Mid-Atlantic listed stakes type, who came back to win with a 95 Beyer, but I thought he just took advantage of an easy trip on the lead. And with Green Grotto in here, it's hard to imagine a similar situation.
Right, and he is a speed horse too, so he wants to get out there and get forward. Maybe he can outrun Green Grotto to lead, but that's never easy to do. He's really going to have to up his game if he's going to beat a field like this.
Sparty occasionally outruns his odds. He won the Tom Fool in 2017, still seeking his first win since. Last time out, he was up close in the Skyler Scramjet race, and he just really didn't fire. Maybe a wet track would move him up as he makes his 3rd start for Rudy?
Yeah, we'll see if something can move him up. He does have a couple of races in his past that would give him a chance in here. One thing that you do like about Sparty is that he can close from off the pace. I mean, last time they decided to sort of chase it in a 3-wide trip. It didn't really work out for him, and he didn't run a very good race last time. But he is capable of just sort of falling back off the pace and then coming with a big run through the stretch. I mean, he's not a totally impossible long shot, but he's going to have to run his very best race in this spot.
Petrov was briefly on the Triple Crown Trail in 2017, but we all had the feeling that he was probably going to be best as a one-turn horse. He's won 2 out of his last 3 starts against weaker competition. Yeah. Handled a wet track last time out at Oaklawn. Handled a nice older horse in Storm Advisory, who's come back to Beyers 90 and 92 in losing efforts. His numbers are just a little light.
Yeah, that's the real problem with him right now as he steps into a Grade 1 race here, is just that he doesn't have that one race you can point to that says that race is going to make him really tough in here. He's a lightly raced 4-year-old. He can still improve, and he does have some ability, but he's going to need to really run the best race of his life here.
Not sure if Fellowship's good enough to win, but I think he's going to outrun his big odds in this spot. Last time out in the Stymie, he was in against a streaking runaway winner in Harlan Punch in a race with no pace whatsoever. He needs pace. He needs this shorter distance. Yeah. That's what he got to back in the General George. He also got a wet track, and he ran really well against a sharp horse and Something Awesome. Again, not sure he's good enough to win this race, but he might come with a run and spice up those exotics.
Yeah, kind of what you want to use underneath, I think. I think you're right about him. His race 2 back was actually a good effort. He just couldn't keep up early in that race. It really cost him. He was running way too late in there, and he just missed getting up. 3 starts back, or no, maybe it's 4 starts back now when he was behind Great Stuff. That was a race where they were both up against it. The pace really never came back for them, and this horse had trouble in that race.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 1 Carter. Kicks off the pick 4. You can go so many different ways. Yeah. You're going right back to Skyler's Scramjet. Nevin's gotten him so sharp right now, and he could be in control of this when they turn into the stretch.
Yeah, that's what I like about him. I like how tactical and handy he is. You can just put him anywhere you want in a race. And again, I like the way he's been finishing lately. I'm going to give him one more chance here to just back up that Tom Fool.
I don't like the layoff, but I like Awesome Slew as a horse. Really up against it from a bias standpoint in the Dirt Mile, a race that's come back very, very live. I think the 7 works for him. He just needs a little bit of pace up front. Mike's going to go 9, 11, 2, and 4. I'm going to go 11, 2, 9, and 4 in the Grade 1 Carter, kicking off the pick 4 at Aqueduct on Wood Memorial Saturday. And if you're playing that pick 4, please consider DRF Bets. A $150 bonus is yours when you go to drf.com/join and use the promo code TV150. Approximate post time for the Carter, 4:44 Eastern. Best of luck.